A TED Fund-funded African Diaspora Resource Center is to be established in the University of Ibadan, Nigeria. An MOU to that effect has been signed between the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission and the University of Ibadan. This will form the main focus of the diaspora this week. It promises to be very informative. Stick around. And on our complimentary segment, we have health tips by Association of Nigerian Physicians in the Americas, AMPA, and our diaspora of the moment. This is your favorite show, The Diaspora, and I am Shaliwa Ajila, your anchor. Please stay with us. Welcome back. The Chairman CEO Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Honorable Abike Dabiri Erewa, who signed the MOU on behalf of the Commission, said the Diaspora Center would be the first of its kind in the world.
The story started a few years ago. I came to give a lecture. When I was made the Chairman Diaspora in the House of Reps, I got to know that we have the first transnational Institute of Diaspora Studies here at the African Institute here, and I came to give a lecture. And then after I was like, let's go round, and we came. I think also to the VC's office, paid a courtesy call, and the idea came up from Professor Senayo, and we started brainstorming. I said, listen, we can make this happen. And that time I was in the Parliament, and then I became Chairman NIDCOM, but that thought never left my mind. So we kept at it, and then finally went to see TED Fund, and TED Fund approved our request from NIDCOM to have this center at the University of Ibadan. But really we're excited that this will happen, and I hope very soon, because the funds have been released, and really we are the ones that the ball is in our court now. But I'm also particularly happy that it's going to be at this premier institution in the world. And I want to commend your leadership of the University of Ibadan since you took over as Vice Chancellor, and thank you for all you've been doing, and hope that we continue to build our educational system. We have no reason not to be the best in whatever we do. And I thank you for doing what it is you're doing. But I want to thank Prof. Dr. Senayo and his team. Always participated in diaspora activities. I was novel. I didn't know diaspora, but I was, just thrown under the bus. Just go and do diaspora. But today, I thank God, and we give God the glory that we've been able to put diaspora issues at the front burner in such a way that we are now going to have a research center at the University of Ibadan. And I want to thank the NIDCOM team. Honorable Terab, who is the head of our TTI department, Transfer Technology department of the NIDCOM, has been the one liaison with the director, with the institute. And thank you, Honorable Terab, for the great job. He's head of our Lagos office, so he'll be coming to Ibadan every day to come and look at the progress of the site. Madam, thank you so much, Director of the Institute. And I want to particularly thank the lecturers and students of the Institute of African Studies, because they participate in activities, Diaspora Day and lectures, and honestly, they are just awesome. And I think I want to take all of you over to Abuja to work with us. So, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, thank you for receiving us. We look forward to coming back here very, very soon for the commissioning of the first Diaspora Research Center that will be built anywhere in the world. So thank you, Vice Chancellor. Thank you, Madam. Nice to see you again. And I thank all of you for the warm welcome.
The best privilege for the management team to receive the Nigeria in Diaspora Commission. I will not say I am not aware of this project, because a number of times the executive secretary of TED Fund has accosted me a number of times, and each time he speaks very, very passionate. So the executive secretary has bought in a lot into this project, and even before it was approved, the contractor and make sure that that project is completed on schedule. Our project, even if there are consultants on that work, our project team will also, do oversight functions so that they can close mark, all the controls. Because we know that because of the fluctuations in the naira, if you don't do it in time, even some of those amount of money that you have allocated might end up being insufficient because of the fluctuations. Because we know that the prices of many of these things, they climb up every second, not even every hour or every day. They climb up, so we will we'll make sure that it's completed. So it's a big privilege to welcome you.
Your baby is at this point.
But the registrar is not there. So I'll be passing it to you.
The Vice Chancellor, Professor Kayode Adebowale, said research and training were highly rated at the University of Ibadan, adding that the establishment of the Center of Excellence was a welcome development.
Honorable Abike Dabiri Irenwe and myself have started discussing about how we are going to put the physical infrastructure in place. All the things that we need to do in the next few weeks, we will be able to cement it. The contractor and so on, and then we will also look at the bill of quantities and to ensure that all the facilities that is in the bill of quantities will be in place to clear the space that we have here, the 2 acres of land, and then arrange for the turning. Because as soon as you have the turning of the sort, it's just to continue the building and then put all the structures in place.
Thank you.
So, Honorable Abike Dabiri, we want to thank you. We want to thank you for your passion. We want to thank you for your commitment. And we can see that in everything that you have done today, it's very clear manifestation that this project will succeed. We will make sure that we monitor it and make sure that it's completed. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. This journey has begun, and by the grace of God, this journey will be completed. Amen. And this is also going to bring international spotlights to the University of Ibadan, because one of our plans is to have a Diaspora Hall of Fame here. And this is coming at a time that the historic African diaspora are coming back to trace their roots. Yes. So beyond doing our research and all that, this is going to be really a center of excellence, and like Dr. Zanaya said, for the whole world to copy. So we really want to bring the excellence to it. And VC, I thank you very much. This journey has begun, and by the grace of God, this journey will be completed. Amen. And this is also going to bring international spotlights to the University of Ibadan, because one of our plans is to have a Diaspora Hall of Fame here. And this is coming at a time that the historic African diaspora are coming back to trace their roots. Yes. So beyond doing our research and all that, this is going to be really a center of excellence. And VC, I thank you very much, and I know that under also your strict supervision, we will achieve all we can. And I want to thank the ES of TED Fund. He's an architect, so he understands everything we're talking about, for listening to us and for believing in the vision. Again, we thank everybody, and I hope that, like you said, we're turning the sword very, very soon. And by the grace of God, we'll all be here for the unveiling of the Center of Excellence for Diaspora and Research. So the Prof, we thank you very much. Our visit, Madam, the whole delegation, thank you very much.
A structure that will be a model in terms of architecture, but also in terms of functionality. And so we're going to have various sectors and sections. We're going to factor in various sectors so that there will be different and various sections to cater to lecture theater, to boardrooms, to syndicate rooms, to so many other things, and a lot of other things, to say nothing of the library, yes, and the hostel. We're hopeful that someday we'll also have the International Diaspora Guest House, because this is the first of its kind. Because this is the first of its kind on the African continent, and of course anywhere in the world. A diaspora resource and research center that will cater to what has become the more fashionable concept now of global African diaspora, the global Africa. And we are also grateful to the University of Ibadan, because our Diaspora and Transnational Studies program, which was the first of its kind to be so established on the African continent, was decisively conceived to respond directly to the African Union's declaration of the diaspora as the continent's sixth region in 2003. And exactly 10 years after, our Diaspora and Transnational Studies program took off as the first of its kind on the African continent. We produced the first MA in Diaspora and Transnational Studies in Africa, PhD thesis award that had competitors from the whole of the African continent and Europe. So this is the kind of amazing work we do in Diaspora and Transnational Studies, and our students too have, we must say, been equally incredible in seeing the vision and the imperative of doing fine scholarship that can compare, as it were, with what their counterparts in other parts of the world do.
The Center of Excellence, funded by TED Fund, will be managed by the Diaspora and Transnational Studies Unit of the Institute of African Studies, University of Ibadan. This is the Diaspora. Keep watching.
Our country is emerging into a new dawn of dedicated efforts to ensure national development, guarantee peace, and promote prosperity for all our nation's people. The ambitions we had in this regard cannot fully be realized without the support, contribution, and enthusiastic participation of those of our brothers and sisters all over the world. As such, all deliberate efforts will be made in this administration to ensure that the Nigerian diaspora community are intimately involved in designing, implementing, and reviewing public policy plans and programs. The last few years have been epoch-making so far as government efforts to accelerate engagement with Nigerians in the diaspora. In 2017, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission Establishment Act became the law of the land. In 2019, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission NICOM began its operations, doing the important work of engaging with Nigerians abroad, ensuring that our people, wherever they may be, live in the knowledge that there is a dedicated institution of the federal government of Nigeria ready and prepared to answer them when they call, both in good times and in bad.
Next is our health tips with AMPA doctors.
Hello, my name is Chinyere Anyago, and I'm the president of Association of Nigerian Physicians in the Americas. I'm here today to talk a little bit about endometrial cancer. Endometrial cancer is cancer in the uterus. That is the womb that normally carries the baby. And it's interesting that endometrial cancer is a significant cause of morbidity and mortality within Nigeria. It also is essentially an illness that could be prevented or very easily identified early in its diagnosis for an effective treatment. Endometrial cancer occurs when there is cancer which is abnormally growing cells within the lining of the uterus, usually in women who have gone through the change. When I mean the change, I'm referring to menopause. Menopause is the time at when the usual menstrual periods that occur every month or so ceases for at least a year. Postmenopausal bleeding is the primary cardinal sign of endometrial cancer. Rarely it could occur prior to that time, but more often than not, and an easy message to communicate is once your periods have stopped from menopause, restarting the period is not normal. It's not helpful, and it could be strongly associated with the fact that you may have endometrial cancer. A lot of women feel when their periods stop, there's a sense of loss or a sense of lack of actualization of the normal feminine output by no longer having a period, which is also associated with the cessation of the natural propensity to ovulate and achieve childbearing. So when the period recurs, and this is a symptom that is abnormal, a lot of women identify that and they're actually happy that the bleeding has started again, and they tend to ignore it until it has gone on for a long time. Any bleeding after the change or in menopause is abnormal. One of the commoner causes of bleeding in menopause is atrophy, meaning that the lining is so thin, and with a lack of hormonal involvement, you have shedding and bleeding, and that's a common cause. That's not abnormal, but it still needs to be evaluated. Having regular periods, heavy periods, unpredictable bleeding, clots, pain, feeling like you're having regular cyclical periodic changes after menopause has occurred is never normal and requires further investigation. Sometimes the bleeding may not be every month. It may occur several times a month and then stop for a period and then come again. Either which way, it's still important for it to be evaluated because endometrial cancer could potentially be treated in its early stages with complete remission and cure. The cure at that time, assuming that it's a localized event, would be surgical. That means it would be associated with a hysterectomy. I mention this also because, again, women are less likely to accept or agree to having a hysterectomy, even if they have completed childbearing, due to the feeling that culturally, for what you came into the world with, you want to leave the world with. So even though you're not going to have children, you want to leave the world with your uterus. However, when there is cancer in the uterus, the treatment is removing it, and following its removal, a woman can go on to have a normal, full-fledged life. Sometimes people who have had fibroids and had abnormal bleeding could then, after the menopause, have a turn of the heavy bleeding, and so they feel that it may be part of the fibroids. Again, after menopause, fibroids normally, which is common in women of childbearing age and usually seen and associated with abnormal and heavy bleeding. However, after menopause, fibroids shrink, and so fibroids should not be a cause of bleeding after menopause has occurred. So in summary, would like to emphasize, any bleeding that happens after menopause is not normal. Stop, think about it, go get yourself evaluated. You see your doctor or your care provider. An ultrasound and other sampling of the uterus would very easily determine the cause and direct to the needed treatment. Thank you.
Now, to our diaspora of the moment. Our diaspora of the moment is Giannis Shino Ugo Adetokunbo. Adetokunbo was born in Athens, Greece on December 6, 1994. He is the son of immigrants from Nigeria. His parents are from different Nigerian ethnic groups. Charles is Yoruba, while Veronica is Igbo. His father had been a soccer player in Nigeria, while his mother was a high jumper. Adetokunbo grew up in the Athens neighborhood of Sepolia in a primary Nigerian household. His parents, as immigrants without work permits, could not easily find work, So Giannis and his older brother helped by hawking watches, handbags, and sunglasses in the streets. In 2007, Adetokunbo started playing basketball. He began playing basketball for the youth teams of Athleticos in Athens. In 2011, he began playing for the club's senior team before entering the 2013 NBA draft, where he was selected 15th overall by the Bucks. In 2016 to 2017, he led the Bucks in all 5 major statistical categories and became the first player in NBA history to finish a regular season in the top 20 in all 5 statistical of total points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. He received the Most Improved Player award in 2017. Adetokunbo has received 7 All-Star selections, including being selected as an All-Star captain in 2019, 2020, and 2023 as he led the Eastern Conference in voting in these 3 years. One of the most decorated players in NBA history, Adetokunbo won consecutive NBA and Most Valuable Player award in 2019 and 2020, joining Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and LeBron James as the only players in NBA history to win 2 MVPs before turning 26. Along with his MVP award, he was also named the NBA Defensive Player of the Year in 2020, becoming only the 3rd player after Michael Jordan in 1988 and Hakeem Olajuwon in 1994 to win both awards in the same season. In 2021, Adetokunbo led the Bucks in their first NBA championship since 1971 and was named Finals MVP. The same year, he was honored as one of the league's greatest players of all time by being named to the NBA's 75th anniversary team. The film Rise, based on the life of Adetokunbo and his family, was released in 2022. Congratulations, Adetokunbo. We celebrate you as our diaspora of the moment. I do hope you were adequately informed and entertained. Please join us next week and stay positive. Bye for now.